Egypt just made an offer that changes everything. Last week, Turkey, Israel, and Russia competed for Ethiopia investments, drones, technology, Somali land access. This week, Egypt entered the game, and Egypt isn't offering speculation. Egypt is offering a pathway to ports. Ethiopia already uses Djibouti, Eritrea's Aseb, Sudan's port, Sudan, the condition compromise on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, flexibility on Nile water. But there's something Egypt isn't saying out loud, and it's connected to what Abiy Ahmed just announced, Ethiopia's new elite force to protect Red Sea coastlines. This is Horn Times Insight. Here's why Egypt's offer is really about stopping Ethiopia's maritime ambitions and why Ethiopia's silence might still be winning. Before we understand Egypt's offer, we need to understand what Ethiopia is building. At the 65th anniversary of Ethiopia's Special Operations Command in Hawassa, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed made a striking announcement. Ethiopia has created an elite force to protect regional coastlines from Somalia to Massawa in Eritrea. Abiy said Ethiopia has overhauled its military capabilities, shifting focus from training in terrainous to training on sea. This elite force can conduct advanced drone reconnaissance and destroy fortresses with kamikaze drones. This is Ethiopia publicly declaring maritime military ambitions, not just commercial port access for trade, but military capability to operate along Red Sea coastlines, Somalia to Massawa, that's the entire western Red Sea coast. And Egypt heard this. Now, Egypt's offer makes sense. According to The National, EG sent Abe Ahmed a proposal. Egypt will work with African allies to secure Ethiopia's commercial Red Sea access through Djibouti's Doli, Eritrea's Asab, and Sudan's Port Sudan. But here's the key. Egypt has agreements with all three countries to develop these ports. Egypt positioned to control who gets access, the conditions. Ethiopia must show flexibility on the Renaissance Dam and Nile water distribution. And while not explicitly stated in the leaked details, Egypt's long-standing doctrine is clear. The Red Sea belongs to coastal states only. Non-coastal states cannot have permanent military presence. Egypt is offering Ethiopia commercial port access, trade, shipping, economic activity, but Egypt is implicitly telling Ethiopia you're elite force for Red Sea coastlines. That's not happening. And there's a warning. If Ethiopia rejects this offer and pursues Red Sea military involvement, Egypt will use its political and military leverage in Djibouti, Eritrea, Sudan, and its southern Red Sea naval presence to block it. Egypt is drawing a line. Trade. Yes, military presence. Never. As we were producing this episode, two major updates. First, Egypt has officially responded, and the response confirms everything we're analyzing. An Egyptian official source cited by the Middle East news agency categorically denied offering Ethiopia Red Sea access in exchange for Renaissance Dam flexibility. But Egypt's statement reaffirmed two critical points. First, the governance and security of the Red Sea are the exclusive domain of coastal states. No external parties, meaning landlocked Ethiopia, are permitted to engage in Red Sea security arrangements. Second, Israeli President Herzog landed in Addis Ababa. The visit we discussed last week just happened. Israel's president is now in Ethiopia days after Erdogan left. Egypt denied the trade-off, but Egypt confirmed the red lines. Red Sea belongs to coastal states. Ethiopia's elite force doesn't qualify. Ethiopian Renaissance Dam position unchanged. Egypt positioned itself over the last year to control Ethiopia's options. Egypt reached port development agreements with Djibouti for Djibouti and with Eritrea for Asab both. Both ports sit near Bab al-Mandeb, the southern gate to the Red Sea. Egypt is planning to jointly develop Sudan's port. Sudan and Egypt built alliances. 10,000 troops deployed to Somalia, strengthening relations with Eritrea. Port development deals with Djibouti backing Sudan's government. Egypt created diplomatic and economic leverage around the Ethiopia position to either facilitate or block port access. When Abiy announced his elite force to protect coastlines from Somalia to Massawa, Egypt heard a challenge to that doctrine. Egypt's offer is the response. We'll give you commercial access, but your military stays out. Israel already recognized Somaliland pathway to Berbera open. Russia delivered Orion E-drones. Ethiopia became the first country to acquire them. Everyone made offers. Ethiopia stayed silent. Now Egypt enters with an offer that directly addresses and restricts Ethiopia's publicly stated ambitions. Egypt isn't offering what Israel offered: Somaliland recognition, potential naval presence. Egypt is offering controlled commercial access while explicitly blocking military presence. During the 39th African Union Summit, Egypt's foreign minister made Egypt's Red Sea position explicit. Governance of the Red Sea should be limited to littoral states only. Egypt categorically rejects external parties imposing themselves as partners in Red Sea governance. This isn't just rhetoric. This is Egypt's response to Abiy's elite force announcement on Nile water. Water is a fundamental human right. Adherence to no-harm principles on transboundary rivers required. And Egypt offered to finance dam construction in Kenya while calling for Nile Basin cooperation based on consensus. Egypt is positioning as the reasonable regional actor. Ethiopia with its maritime elite force, and GERD is the outline. Here's the remarkable pattern. Ethiopia stayed silent during Turkey, Israel, Russia competition, didn't commit, just listened. Results: Turkey offered more, Israel sent its president, Russia delivered drones, but Abe wasn't entirely silent. He announced the elite force for Red Sea coastlines, a public declaration of maritime ambitions. Now Egypt, Ethiopia's primary rival on Nile water, is offering commercial sea access while trying to block those military ambitions. During Erdogan's visit, Abiy said 130 million people cannot remain geographic prisoners. But Abiy didn't specify commercial access military presence. Both by staying ambiguous, Ethiopia forces everyone to make offers addressing different interpretations. Turkey thinks Ethiopia wants economic partnership. Israel thinks Ethiopia wants Somaliland. Russia thinks Ethiopia wants military diversification. Egypt thinks Ethiopia wants Red Sea, military presence. And everyone is competing to provide their version of the solution. But silence and ambiguity have limits. Eventually, Ethiopia must clarify and choose. Egypt's offer is private deliberations reported by sources not signed, not public flexibility on Grand Ethiopia. Renaissance Dam isn't defined. What does Egypt want? Operational limits, water guarantees, binding, arbitration details matter. Ethiopia hasn't responded publicly, hasn't confirmed receiving it. Egypt's leverage through agreements is real, but enforcement depends on Djibouti, Eritrea, and Sudan's cooperation. These countries have their own interests, but perception matters. Egypt positioned as a power that can facilitate commercial access while blocking military presence that changes calculations for Turkey, Israel, Russia. Last week, Turkey, Israel, Russia competed. This week, Egypt entered with an offer that directly addresses Abe's publicly stated maritime ambitions. Abe announced an elite force to protect coastlines from Somalia to Mozambique. Egypt responded, "We'll give you commercial port access, but your military stays out of the Red Sea." Egypt signed port development agreements with Djibouti, Eritrea, Sudan. Egypt's message: we control the pathways to commercial access. We also control who gets military presence, and Ethiopia doesn't. And Ethiopia's response: silence again for 33 years. Landlocked for 33 years, paying billions to Djibouti for commercial access for 33 years, seeking alternatives. Now everyone is offering solutions, but different solutions. Turkey investment and regional backing, Israel. Somaliland recognition implies both commercial and potential military presence. Russia, military diversification, no conditions. Egypt, commercial access guaranteed, military presence blocked. Ethiopia didn't clarify what it wants, just said 130 million cannot remain geographic prisoners. And everyone interpreted that differently. Commercial access only or military presence too. Ethiopia's ambiguity forced everyone to bid on different versions. But that ambiguity is about to force a choice. If Ethiopia accepts Egypt's offer, commercial access secured, Renaissance Dam compromised, military Red Sea ambitions ended. If Ethiopia pursues Israel's Somaliland route, potential military presence, but Egypt mobilizes agreements to block commercial access through Djibouti asset ports, Sudan. If Ethiopia pursues its elite force unilaterally, Egypt explicitly promises to use political, economic, and military leverage to stop it. Choosing commercial access means abandoning the elite force. Abiy just announced choosing military presence means risking Egypt, closing commercial access. Choosing neither means staying landlocked commercially and militarily. All eyes on Addis Ababa. Not because Ethiopia is weak, because Ethiopia declared maritime ambitions publicly, and now every regional power is responding.